Hello, I'm Natalie Clark White, and I'm celebrating today because finally I get to speak with Sir Vivian Richards. Some may know him as the Master Blaster, some may just know him as Viv, but I know him as the Master Blaster. Back in the day at university in England, Sir Vivian Richards was one of my heroes. So Viv, I bet you didn't know that.
Wow. Well, it's never too late to know. And it's great to know anyway.
And imagine you came from Antigua and Barbuda, a place that I'd never visited back in the day as yet. But what caught my attention about you was that you were fierce about being a black man, a strong black man, a mentor, a hero for us out there when it came to the field of play in the international game of cricket. But before we get to that international game, let's talk about who you are. Who were your parents? Where did you come from? I know that Otters is your domain, but how did you get there? Were you born there?
Ovals.
That's right,
that
not
sense.
Otters.
But it's all pretty much, we
Kind
are
of the
neighbors
same.
in any way.
Exactly.
It's only maybe a stone throw away or
That's
a step
right.
away. But growing up in Ovals and growing up in Drake Street, as it was known at that particular time, I grew up to my mother, Gretel Richards, Malcolm Richards.
Okay.
I've got two other brothers in Donald, extended family in Donald and David. So growing up in the Ovals area, it was what you see now, where everything is so-called development. But sometimes you say to yourself, what does development bring? Especially, when we grew up at the time, we had the magnificent willow trees by the dam gutter. You had a beautiful playing area. They used to call the Ovals area in itself where we played the tennis park.
Okay.
Because you had you could play lawn tennis and almost everything was there in that area. And growing up in that sort of environment where everyone knew everyone, it's not like today. Today I think we're further upfield in terms of the integrating factor, and that created, in my opinion, a much wider society of what Antigua and Barbuda is all about. But the Ovals area, you knew everyone, the Copper Barbershop, the Francis, the Romy Francis, the famous Glennet, all grew up in that street. There's a whole, a wide range of individuals who are so highly successful that I would have
Interacted with as a child.
then, and who were, they may not have known it then, who were mentors to you, because I was a guy who tried and follow individuals who I felt brought a positive message.
Okay.
And I was pretty happy with that, yeah.
You mentioned your brothers. You had sisters? Or it was just boys?
I craved for that for many years. I even questioned my mom and dad about it, because when things started to happen for me as a sports person and as a cricketer, the adulation factor, I would have loved to have a little sister. And I know the role, or would have had some sort of imagination of the role she would have played in your life, but that's something that I really, really miss, not having a sister, yeah.
Wait, what school did you go to?
At first I started out with Miss Ross. Anyone who knows Makeda Michael,
Yes.
her mother, Miss Ross, had a little school now in the Otters area in itself, Upper Michael's Village.
Yes.
I started out there as the kindergarten stuff and grew up from there, then went on to the St. John's Boys School, which was pretty close to where my father worked then, who was a prison officer.
Okay.
So which means that there were eyes on me from all angles.
Oh my boy.
The boys'
you
school.
couldn't slip, no
No
slide.
no way. The boys' school was the sort of foundation of what started things to be. I went further up the hill in a big way, the grammar school, but it was like being elevated from one institution to the next.
Awesome.
And I had a great time at the St. John's Boys School. It was the sort of the building of a Viv Richards, in a sense, to take me to other avenues. And that's where it all started. The grammar school, we had some magnificent headmasters then. From the boys' school, we had the late Macklin Matthias, who I felt was a mentor then to me. Appreciated everything I was doing as a kid, as a young man, and gave me the encouragement and just helped with the knowledge to push forward. Then I went up to the grammar school. We had Loyston Jacobs, another special individual, an individual who loved sports and who could basically create an avenue for cricket and all the sports and environment young kids wanted to just explore. Just wasn't sport, but steel pan and a huge.
Okay, so
huge,
music.
It was a, I had a.
You had a holistic.
Great times to have started with. As I said, that particular foundation that every one of us needed, whether you're a boy, a girl, woman, or man, we all needed to have something that we have respect for that can help to move us on a little beyond.
So, was cricket your first love?
No, I enjoyed my soccer. I was a soccer player, but soccer was a sort of a rebel environment around here. You know, it wasn't as organized as cricket.
So you and Mervyn used to fight then?
Well, if you grow up in any family where you have boys in the family as well, you're gonna have a little shindig every now and again. A lot of disagreements sometimes take place, but this is what happens. This is what helps to sort of bring you around, to grow you as an individual. But the most amazing thing about it is that we love one another daily.
Absolutely.
You know, that's the most.
What I was thinking of was he loves soccer too, and so what made you change? Where was the change in St. John's Boys School, or when you went to high school?
Well, I played almost all, even tried to run, involved in athletics. I almost involved in everything. It's one of those.
You just love sports.
Sports. The kids who enjoy the outdoors. You know, I was involved in this whole program where the vitamin D effect from a very, very early age.
You have to be out in the sun.
Outdoors, you know. So I had outdoors. Just I wasn't one who wanted to be clogged up in an office.
Right.
I just felt like, you could say, an animal in a proper way,
okay.
in a nice way, you know, who just have had the freedom. Of
you strike me as somebody who always wanted to be moving and free.
Well, and to be honest, being given the opportunity in the cricketing world to travel many places.
Yes.
I've been to Africa, South Africa. I had an audience with Desmond Tutu, because these are things that are really dear to my heart, you know.
That must have been a defining moment.
Great, you know. I took, at the time, the opposition leader, Harold Lovell, with me, who was a good friend. And we saw the sports minister at the time, Steve Swayze, who's no longer with us. And it was a documentary that we did for ITV in England.
It was famous documentary.
You know, we had a Ghanaian producer, director, and we traveled to South Africa just after the apartheid regime was dismantled. But the people,
you're going
that stuff was
straight
dismantled.
to where I was going to ask you about what led to that moment of deciding not to play at that time.
Well, after going back, because I had made a decision long ago that when I was offered to play in South Africa, I was one who always cared about my people, always knew about where I'm from, where I wanted to go, where I stand on earth, and sometimes took a lot of licks for it from sometimes your own. He's the most arrogant guy on earth. Tough, you know. I'm just a confident guy who believed in my race, believed in my people, and I have no apologies for anyone.
No regrets.
Or none when it comes to that, you know. So that's the way I am, you know. I defend people's rights. When I went to Kenya, I saw a lot in South Africa. As I said, even when you went to South Africa, people felt because apartheid was dismantled yesterday that the people's mind change was going to also. No, that was something totally embedded
Right.
in folks. When you have, you see a leopard and they don't change their spots.
Truly.
You know, they do not. So that was quite strange to me, seeing how I wanted to be put in this certain category after I had made all these decisions.
Right.
That huge decision not to go. Sometimes some folks would say, oh, I saw this great innings that you played at Lord's or wherever, the Oval, whether it's Melbourne, Australia, Karachi, Bombay. People, I ignore all that, Natalie. I ignore all that. The greatest innings that I think Vivian Richards would have ever played is not going to South Africa. That to me is the most important innings, and it was because of the sports I was put in that position.
So
in order
for you,
not to make that
even
decision.
from an early age, character really counted.
Yeah, we always defended as young guys growing up. I remember the people who ignited my imagination then were the Stokely Carmichaels, the Malcolm X, the Huey Newtons. You know, all these are people that I believed in, the Black Panthers in America. You know, we even try and emulate when we were young kids growing up with the beret and, you know, the Black Power sign.
Yeah.
We believed in us, you know, from a very early age.
So what was it like then when you actually had the chat? First of all, let's backtrack. Who mentored you and gave you that opportunity to actually get into the international game of cricket? You played for the Leeward Islands, and you know, how did you make that leap?
Well, my father played for Antigua. He represented Antigua and Barbuda. My father was a multi-purpose sports person. I guess because we weren't members of the Big Four family then, that the smaller islands were sometimes not basically looked upon in any serious way.
So just in case people missed that, the Big Four family was Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados.
That's right. That's right. That's what you had then.
Yes, yeah.
You know, so, and it's reasonably a fair comment that we never really had the look in as those folks did.
OACS territory at that time was
we had
seen
a lot of
as
good,
the small island people.
We had a lot of good individuals around here.
Yes,
my father, Leo Gore, Sir Sidney Wallin.
Okay.
We had a lot of good people. Soames, the late Soames, you know, who was a very good fast bowler. We had it then. And how I look at it, that people like Andy and myself and Richie and Curtly and all the other guys, we are rather privileged, because I always look back. It's not your time, but the people who would have helped to lay the foundation for us to be where we're at now.
And make it your time.
You know, so I have a lot of respect for that.
So first impressions and first thoughts on going to Great Britain?
Wow.
Because you were chosen.
Yeah. I got to England, and it was rather around the autumn time, I guess. You know, no leaves on the trees. And I'm saying to myself, wow, it's like someone who dropped some nuclear something here, you know. It's cold, it's damp.
No sun, sea and sun
gray,
there.
you know. I'm coming from this, wow, I'm saying this. And here's where sometimes we have to dig deep. We may not be in conditions that are suitable to us as people, and sometimes a lot of us give up. But the things that make you, it's not the shortcuts that you take in order to get there. But if you do your chores and you go through the rigors of what competing and fighting and all the stuff that goes with you wanting to succeed, you know, it was then.
Focused.
Yeah, it was then. It wasn't the rosy. I never had a car. You weren't famous enough for someone to sponsor you with a car, so I had to take the bus. All the little things. I had was to, because of my father's knowledge in ground preparation in terms of pitches when he worked at the prison, I thought I knew a little bit about.
You thought you knew a little
I
something,
thought I
something.
thought a little about bringing, maybe screw the spin the roll on the wicket and get that shine, and you wasn't going to get that in England
No,
with such
different
dull
grass,
weather,
different turf.
So
Yes.
I worked on that. Used the lawn more. When I was doing my chores, then in order for me to get to where I wanted to be, I had to cut the ground,
Interesting.
mow the ground, and it wasn't one of those mowers you just sit down on, but
One of those funny
physically
little things that you had
we
to
worked.
roll along.
So I'm
Yes.
talking about I was into the D sort of a supplement very, very early.
Okay.
That
Yes.
vitamin D. And all that gave me an opportunity. The county that I played with, I can remember I also had, they had temporary stands that we used to take around. We used to have maybe the Bath Festival,
Okay.
the Western Supermare Festival,
Yes.
and you had us to move all these stands, temporary stands. I worked physically putting these stands up. I can remember the first time that I went on the job in order for me to be part of that whole, wanted to be a cricketer. I can remember I took a little break during lunchtime after, because it's tough work.
Yes, I can just imagine.
I went into the little bar. The club that I played with then had a little bar where you could, on the tab where you could
get
a little
your
beer,
ale or your
ale or
yeah.
whatever. I can remember.
Real beer.
I took a pint of that and passed out.
Yeah, because
the
that stuff
afternoon.
is strong.
Strong stuff, strong ale.
Yes, that's not
You know?
joke beer.
Passed out, and the folks came back and asked me there, and all this is. So next time I know it wasn't going to happen again.
Absolutely.
All that sort of stuff. So you learn from your experiences.
In other words, you back in your day, you weren't handed
No.
things on a platter.
Folks are
You didn't
questioning
go
you,
straight
yeah.
to a hotel room.
No.
You went
I
from
lived in
scratch.
I lived in my first flat. I lived in with a couple of guys from Barbados who had a steel band
Okay.
in Bath, and my sleep would be disrupted when they came back from playing out the night. The drums moving and all the various noise factor. The toilet which I had was one of the toilets which we use outside here. I never thought I'd see that in England.
Yes,
You have
back
just
in
to
the day. Yeah.
go outdoors
Yes.
to this little
Outhouse.
whatever.
Yes.
And there are times where it was so cold that I didn't want to.
And you
I
still
said,
had to
"Man,
get up and practice.
Still had to try and do it,
Yeah.
And
So the first opportunity for you actually to play and the scouts saw you.
well, that's quite amazing. That's an amazing story. I remember the first time I
I
went.
knew there had to be a story
Yeah,
in there somewhere.
there's a huge story behind it, because I can remember when I went to play with this club, Lansdowne. It's supposed to be this prestigious club. It's in the city of Bath, and the names that you hear
Beautiful
about this
county.
city, it's the Georgian city and
Yeah.
all this sort of stuff, The it was built by the Romans. I'm hearing,
Absolutely.
you have the cobblestone streets and stuff like the little side streets, real place, and the people, the way they spoke as well,
Yes,
represented that area
That's
in a
right.
huge way,
Yes.
And when I went to Bath, when the guy said to me, "We don't know nothing about you guy as yet, so we're going to put you into the second team." So I got there in the second team, and we had us to play an away match in a place called Western Supermare,
Okay.
while the first team played at home, at our home ground.
Okay.
So they asked me, "Can you bowl?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "The way I see this wicket, I can bowl a little seam-ups thing." I went and we bowled the team out for 70.
So you bowled
Bowled
and
as
you
well.
did not.
Bat. We bowled the team out for
Okay, let me hear
So
the
guy
story
said,
now.
So the guy said, "Oh, would you like to go in and bat?" Because I'm the new guy. So they want to test what I have.
Yes. Show
So-
me what you're working with.
That's right. We hear about you and all this stuff. So I went into bat. We had to get 71, and I ended up getting 66.
Okay.
Okay. So by this time, and I smacked it to all parts, right? Because to be fair, no disrespect to the guys who played there then. That was, I was way above that league.
Yeah, that was peanuts
You know,
for
and
you.
I had was to go and show.
Yes. So,
That's really Mickey
yeah.
Mouse stuff.
You
know.
didn't pull out all the stops
Tops, you know.
yet.
So we got back to, we had to drive back about 40 minutes back to, everyone used to assemble there every Saturday on our ground, and we'll all reminisce about the matches that took place, the third team,
Right.
the second team, the first team, and we're there. And so the captain went to the captain of the first team. He's saying, man, I've got something to tell you. The guy said, what is that? How did Viv fare? He said, man, he's not a second team player. Just like that, you know.
Just, I love it.
And immediately,
So you
the
got
Sunday
transferred.
from the Saturday, all during that weekend, from a second team to the first team on the Sunday,
I love it.
and never looked
And
back.
they put you in as a bowler or batsman then?
Batsman.
Okay.
And
so bowling went out the
things
window
happen.
then.
Yeah, things happen in such a way that the clubs that I used to go and play against in this little league, they all used to say, "Oh, it was unfair for me coming and playing. I'm too good for that." And yeah, but I had to just do what I had. You had us
That's
to take
right.
care of certain business
Yeah.
before you can get to the next
To the
level.
big
you know,
league.
yeah.
So how long did it take you to get to that first international game?
Well, after that, I was given a contract for Somerset,
Lovely.
and because of how I did in my first year, there was a vacancy for West Indies team which was touring India in 1974. I
And
got
you
it.
decided.
And because of I did pretty well in my first year as a professional in England, and they gave me the nod, and I went to India, and basically the rest is sort of
It's
history.
history.
Yeah,
So in between all of this, you got married
that's right.
and you had babies.
Well, I got married here in Antigua the day before the test match.
Oh my goodness, Viv, not easy.
Yeah, the day before the test match. I had a lot of my friends here.
Oh.
So I did it there then.
my. And then went to India.
No, we were here. We had a series going
You
on
had to
here
see-
then
Okay.
against England. And I had Ian Botham here, the
famous
West Indian
Ian.
players who, they were all here. And I decided that that was it. And maybe the best present that I could have given then was the next, when we played the test match here, I scored 100. So
I love it. So marriage, contract, 100, and then you went to India. What was India like?
India was a very,
'Cause that's a quantum leap
It's,
from here.
it's a huge environment to be in because I've only grew up on an island that you almost know everyone. India, when we first played in Calcutta, when they tell me, I saw all these folks, say 80,000 people, I said, there are more people staying here, in here than folks, you know, who are where I live. It's bigger, more people in one place. You know, and that to me was sort of mind-moving.
Any heckling took place
Well,
between
you
West
got-
Indies team and the Indians?
The Indians were pretty nice
Yeah.
people to play against because very friendly. The fans adored. If you did good, you would be adored and worshipped and all that sort of stuff. So it was huge. You know, getting involved with the various foods because I like my food.
Oh yes.
You know, I
They're
had
West Indian.
been having the opportunity to go around the world and the various foods. I like to taste, but there's no food like your home food. You know, I will indulge in other foods. The Indians, I believe, some of the best food you can get in terms of the spices factor when it's not too hot.
Absolutely.
If you cannot afford it being too spicy.
Yeah.
I've been to Thailand, Thai food, you know. I love the fish and lemongrass, and you know, I've been to South Africa. You have difference. They love a lot of stuff like barbecues, and they call it a braai, I think. You have that also in
A
Australia.
lot of
Everything's
pepper in
barbie,
Africa.
you know.
Yeah.
A lot of meat and Argentina. You know, you walk down one street in the city, and all these places of just bare meat. You know, you could be eating a whole cow. You know,
gosh,
simple as
Viv.
that. Yeah.
But how do you still manage to stay fit in,
Well,
in
to
the
be
midst
fair,
of all of this?
I go in bits and pieces.
Okay.
Not in quantum leaps.
Okay.
I try and operate as mild as possible. There comes a point in time whenever I'm away, just to sort of get yourself all cleaned out again, and you go through the things that can help you
Yeah.
to do
Okay.
that stuff and
I love
start
it.
all over again. It's like maybe cleaning the engines,
I
and
love it. I love it.
if you get your pistons and everything is working in that order, it does help to preserve, I guess, where you want to be in life. Yeah.
So let's talk about your camaraderie with Sir Andy, Sir Richie, yourself, and Sir Ambi. I know every time I interview one of you, you kind of like just tamper down that sir and that night business. So let's talk about your friendship. Were you
Well,
always friends, or did it take a while? Or
Andy and myself grew up together.
Yeah.
He would have been my inspiration.
Okay.
Sir Andy. Sir Andy was the first Antiguan and Barbudan, and I look at him in that light as being the godfather of what we as Antiguans represent at the highest level in sport.
Absolutely.
Andy was my inspiration. I can remember when Andy first got selected, he was to fill in, I think it was either for Van Holder or Kid Boys, one of the two. And I was over in Overs playing some bingo on a little bar that we had then, where you could play pool and play a little bingo. And so I used to hang out there. And Andy came in that night, so respectful of him to have come in that night, and said to me, "So Viv, he had the car." I wasn't said, and he said, "Good old Viv, he came in and he said, I've been selected. I've been asked to go to Barbados to stand by in case such and such doesn't make it." Wow. And I can remember telling the guys, who were up there playing pool and so with then, "Hey man, what more in terms of inspiration for me as an individual, becoming the first Antiguan to represent us at that level?" Because that was huge to me.
Absolutely.
Looking the way I looked at Sir Gary Sobers,
Right.
Sir Everton Weeks, Sir Clive Lloyd, and all these guys, so Wes Hall, all these are people, my mentors.
Yeah, right.
They were in that lane of where I wanted to be.
So
they
you
paved the
studied
path.
them. You
I
made
studied
them your homework.
My whole. That's why I wanted to play for West Indies, because it's a huge history. It even go beyond Sir Gary,
Right.
Sir Leary, Constantine, and hearing of the stuff that he went through in England when he wanted to become. He was practicing law. So I can imagine what it was like then. In your times, you can imagine what things were like. So you can imagine what were like then.
Yes, yes.
For those particular individuals,
Yeah.
So
So their actions, the way they played the game, the way they walked out onto the
so
field
Gary
of
with
play.
the collar. I followed these guys big time.
Yes, yes. But then you also created your own style.
Well, that's it.
There's
I
a
used that
style.
inspiration. I used their
Look.
inspiration.
Viv, there was nothing sweeter than knowing that you're gonna come out of that room, that changing room, and that slow, arrogant walk to the wicket. I don't think anybody does it like you.
Right, so,
It was almost like you're watching this lion come out, right?
I can remember
to
because
the wicket.
to be fair, I'm a fierce competitor.
We saw that.
I'm representing people. I'm not just representing. I had also set a high standard for myself because I'm representing people.
Yeah.
I always look upon the fans of West Indies cricket, the region that we're from, as the proper representation. That's what I was there for.
And they always came out to see you in England.
To always,
Yeah.
I remember once I was walking on Oxford Street, myself and I think it was Maurice Foster then, and Collis King. We were walking on Oxford Street, very busy street, famous street in England. And this bus driver with his double-decker stopped. in the middle of
Oh
traffic.
my gosh.
Okay? And ran out of the bus. And he said, man, Brother Viv, man, and nice seeing you guys, man. You guys don't know how the car horns going from all angles. The people on the bus is trying to get this guy to come back on the bus to take them wherever they were going at the time. And I said to myself, that's what it meant, you know.
That's what it meant. So
That's
you
what it
had to
meant.
keep your bar high.
So we were representing people,
You were
the
representing,
region.
yeah.
I did not see Antigua and Barbuda, the region, that we all come together as one. And I think no force did it better when we were successful than West Indies.
So-
West Indies cricket.
I'll have to ask you finally then, your best moment that you remembered with playing with these greats. Your
Richie,
own fellow Antiguans and
I
Barbudans.
became pretty friendly with Richie after Richie was much younger. Kate Lee, Kurt Lee, and all the other individuals. These are guys I have an enormous amount of respect for because I never played with Andy that much, but I know that I did lead Kurt Lee and Richie.
Because they speak highly
You know,
of you.
and man, I thank them barely because we all can't accomplish, and we cannot accomplish things by ourselves without sometimes being pushed or being helped or being supported. And these guys have been behind you, you know. Because one thing that I do, when I've got a team, and this is my basic, simple motto, that you buy into what we want to do as a collective unit, I'll put my head on the block for you. You know, and these are guys I will do that for them any day because they've given me so much in terms of taking me to where I am because they play such a huge part. So them being Sir Andy, Sir Richie, Sir Curtly, thoroughly deserve, and I hope it goes beyond.
Well, it is going beyond because you are now starting a school.
Well, we're trying to get now maybe some of the principles that we stood for. Anyone who knows Kurt Lee and what he stood for, what Richie stood for, Richie has elevated himself to being a representative of the ICC, the highest level of in terms of administration in cricket.
Yeah.
So Richie, to be fair, these are huge accomplishments, you know,
Yes, they are.
and I'm seriously proud of them for that.
Yeah.
And having played a part with them and the support that they would have given me, I'm very thankful for them, yeah.
So finally, legacy. What's your legacy? I know you play golf now, but I know there's something bigger.
Some of the things that I want some individuals to take on board, you know, that I care. I have a serious care for people. More so my people who have suffered for a hell of a long time. And I'll represent that 1,001%. No apologies for saying that, you know. The legacy is that too many of us sometimes believe that the things that we get in life is always the finished product, that we have done this, we have got this. To me, when you can give and you see someone appreciate you giving, to me that's huge. You can't get any better than that, and I've always done that. May not be publicized as much because I keep a lot of things low key, but that to me, I know, can I say, I would have helped a lot of folks who were in need of help at times, and I feel proud of doing that. Not getting anything back for that, but knowing that you made a difference in someone's life. That to me, you can't beat that.
Passing the baton in terms of professional cricket, is that the reason behind the Knights starting
That's for sure.
the college, the academy rather?
For sure. You know, we had some guys who made it here at the highest level, and it didn't just take maybe a bat and ball to do it. Whenever we accomplish our dreams of this academy getting on the run, we are certainly not building just cricketers, but building minds. Proper minds, that when they get out into the world, that they can be properly represented, not just with the bat and ball, but also with the things that they have to say.
And I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me, Sir Vivian Richards, my master blaster and all the others behind there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for doing conversations with me today.
Thank you so much.